team defended right from the first whistle tonight?
Well, I think first of all, our team, for as new as we are together, lack of experience playing together is certainly prominent on our team right now. For this being November, I love the fact that we have a group of guys that are playing really hard. They're playing with tremendous effort, and they're playing the game to win. We're far from perfect, but I like our hustle. I think evidence lies in the number of charges we attempted to take, some of which were called, and a number of shot blocks and hard plays on the ball. And I think, for us this year, that's the direction we have to go, and we're going to have to be an excellent defensive team. So we're working very hard to get better in that area, and I think we've made some strides in the last couple of weeks.
How much has rebounding been a concern for you since the start of the season?
It's a big concern, and we have to do it as a group. There's going to be games where our guards have to rebound. Dylan Smith is a great example. He's had a couple big games rebounding. But our big guys, Ira, Chase, and Ryan, have to do their part as well. And but the better we get at blocking out, the more good position we are on defense when the shot goes up. All those things allow you to get a lot of rebounds, and that's an area where we've been very strong over the last 6 or 7 years, and certainly we have to do it a different way. But that'll be a big part of Maui for us. Are we able to rebound?
Discrepancy in turnovers. The freshman didn't have any. Brandon Williams again didn't have any. 22 to 6, I think, or something like that. What does that say about maybe personality this team might develop going forward?
Well, offensively, we have not turned the ball over other than the first half against Houston Baptist, really in really any of our games. I think we have a team, again, because we're playing more 4 perimeter players. Part of the benefits that we can get out of that is to not turn it over and have multiple ball handlers on the court at one time. But, Brandon Williams, for a freshman, for him to play in 3 games and not have a turnover, that's astonishing, because the way he plays isn't safe. He makes plays at the basket. He pushes the ball in transition. And I think it says a lot about his intelligence as a player. And, he doesn't force things. He really allows things to present. He takes what the defense gives. And sometimes you don't see a guard get that until they're long gone from college. He almost has that right now. And he's a big reason why we've been able to play with single-digit turnovers.
What's the biggest coaching adjustment that you've had to make going from 2 7-footers the past few years to now a guard-heavy team?
We're just trying to really put our players in the best position to be successful. When you have smaller guys, you don't want to turn it over. You worry about rebounding, like I just mentioned. You have to do it a different way, and it's not as easy, but it can be done. And I think you have to really get a group of players that are very unselfish and play with high effort. And I think that's something that we're trying to establish right now.
How do you put 250 wins here into words?
Say that again?
Today was your 250th win here at Arizona. How do you just kind of put that into words?
It's it doesn't mean much at Arizona. With Coach Olson, and I probably got about 300 left to even come close to him. So the bar's pretty high there. I've been very fortunate that I've had the opportunity to have 2 things, really 3. One, in my time at Arizona, we've had unreal support of our basketball program, all the way from the top down, from fan support to, our administration investing, guys like Mike Ketchum, who's our sport administrator. We have a group, and our athletic department and our people, they do what they need to do to help us win. And the renovations in McHale are a great example of that. We didn't have to do that, but because we did it, we keep moving forward. We've also had some great coaches, staffs, and we have a really good staff right now. And, first and foremost is our players. We've had a great run of not only terrific, talented players, but great kids as well. You put all that together, there's a lot of coaches that can win with those things, and hopefully we can continue.
How would you assess your defense through these first 3 games?
I think it's growing. We have to be able to pressure the other team and be smart with our pressure. When a shot goes up, we can't be dismantled on defensive glass. We can't let these teams get second shots and put fouls on our team because we can't rebound. Our lack of size, we have to make up for it by having 5 guys determined and blocking out, and guys who don't start coming in the game and really contributing in that area. But for the most part, you know, it usually starts with individual players. I think Dylan Smith, Emmanuel Acott, Chase Jeter, you know, those 3 in particular really stand out to setting the tone that defense is important. And there are going to be times when we're going to have to win when the ball doesn't go in. And a lot of times that's the difference between a good and not good season. So we're working really hard at it. And I think our team is a group of guys that believe that we can do it. We'll see. Even in Maui, it's going to be tough to judge us because, you know, it's like last year in the Bahamas. I know it didn't work out for us, but if we'd have played that same tournament in late February, it'd have been a different story. And we played without one of our best players, Raleigh Alkins. There'll be teams in this tournament that are missing players, you know, maybe a team that doesn't play well. But we're going to learn a lot and grow a lot, and hopefully we can leave with a couple wins.
What do you guys need to improve on behind the 3-point line?
Well, first we have to take good threes. You know, it's not equal opportunity. That really hurt us last year in the Bahamas. We went down there, and it was a number of guys taking shots that they didn't understand the time, score, circumstance. You know, we have to take great 3-point shots, and if they don't present themselves, then we can't take them just to take them. I think that's number one. And you know, I think just confidence. You know, Dylan's a guy that sometimes his confidence can waver. You saw Brandon Williams, he didn't shoot the ball really well the first 2 games, but tonight he did. And, you know, Ryan Luther only took 2 shots, both from 3. We can't let that happen. We have to find ways to get him shots because he's one of our best 3-point shooters. So I think what you see there is a work in progress.
A lot of players, you haven't mentioned Brandon Randolph yet, but the second half, when you were pulling away, it was kind of when he really got it going. You see that kind of player?
You know, Brandon Randolph can really score. He's way better than just a good shooter. He's a scorer. He's an excellent free throw shooter. In transition and, you know, off the dribble, he's improved immensely over the last year and a half. And then obviously he can make threes. But if you look at our 2 exhibition games and then our 3 games we've played, he's been our most consistent scorer through 5 games. And, you know, I think he's hard at work to try to do some other things. You know, tonight, rebounding, he had 4 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds, which is great. We're challenging him in that area to help us. And, you know, defensively, he's, I think, getting a lot better almost every time that we practice. But I think, you know, Brandon has a very bright future.
Coach, I'm covering the team from El Paso. What do you think about the job Rodney Terry's doing, and what, if anything, did they do that presented issues for you tonight?
Well, you know, we played against Rodney Terry's team when he was the coach at Fresno, and, you know, you can kind of see it developing early in his first year at UTEP, that his teams really compete and they play physical. You know, rebounding is something that his teams have done. They got the ball to the low post very well. You know, I think that their big guy, freshman, big guy 25, he's going to have a heck of a career at UTEP. I mean, he's a load. For him to be a freshman, he's got a bright future.
Did you look at Maui too as maybe a learning experience when you have a young team like this to get on a different level, different stage, and maybe see some of these things you're talking about against a higher level?
Yeah, I mean, I think all 8 teams that travel to Maui will certainly learn their strengths and weaknesses even more, and you're getting young players a lot of great experience away from home. But the competition is the highest level that I've seen in a tournament. You know, last year, because we played Purdue in the 8th place game, I think they were a 2 seed. You know, that was a heck of a field we played in against last year, but this one's even better.
Do you have any birthday plans for Maui on Saturday?
I don't. I appreciate everybody wishing me a happy birthday. It kind of caught me off guard because, one, it isn't my birthday. And two, it was kind of in the middle of the game, so I wasn't sure what to do, really. But I appreciate everybody acknowledging. And when you turn 50, I think that number means more than maybe the other 49.
Yeah, when the students were yelling happy birthday, they were shooting free throws. Did you even hear that?
I did, yeah. I did.
You get your art card in the mail now, Coach.
What's that?
You get your art card in the mail now.
Yeah.
You had a chance to look at Iowa State at all, or not?
No, but I know that they have added a lot of talent to their team, and you know, Steve is a really good coach. I've followed him since he was at Murray State, and we know they have an excellent program. I think they have a couple great guards, maybe a couple injuries right now too, but I'm not sure of their status. We've just focused on the 3 games that we've had here.
Do you think the team gets an extra motivation knowing that they can play against a Duke in the championship game of Maui?
No, I mean, you know, Duke, you know, and rightfully so, has everybody's respect because of the great program they are. But there's quite a few great programs in that tournament. You know, Gonzaga's a great program. You know, like I said about Iowa State, you know, Iowa State is hungry and they're going to be a really good team. I know Illinois has an excellent coach and they're going to be better in his second year. So it doesn't matter who you name. Auburn, I think Auburn could be a Final Four type of team. And they were really good last year. I think they're even better this year. So Xavier, we know them very well. And San Diego State, I mean, all 8 teams have a lot to play for and have terrific histories. So that's what's going to make this a heck of a challenge.
The last 2 weeks, you filmed and done a film review session with a couple of players. Whose idea was it to film these and then put them online? And then what do you get out of it? And what do the players get out of it?
You know, as our sports information guys over there, you know, using their wisdom and talent. But, you know, that's really easy for me to do because that's what we do every day. You know, sometimes you guys may not see that, but it's what we do. And I think it's really good for our players as well because you get a chance to know them. So I think it accomplishes a lot of different things. And mostly I'm trying with that to reward our fans. You know, to allow them to really know the most they can about our team and what we're doing, whether it's good or bad, in terms of coming off of a loss. But I think that's something that we're gonna do all year.
The one with Bill Smith, you mentioned different schools of thought on shooting the 3, the 1-2 step and shoot. Why is that the one that you like versus any of the other schools of thought?
Because that's the one that he's wide open when he shoots. You know, I mean. Thing about the 3-point shot, you know, the more wide open you are, the more time you have to shoot it, the higher chances that it goes in. And he forgot a couple times tonight because I think he took a couple challenged ones. And let's face it, the challenged 3-point shot, that's a hard one to make. And a lot of times if you do, it's almost fool's gold. It's setting you up in the future to go back to being a low percentage shooter. So, you know, part of us tonight is looking at the 16 threes we took, were they all good? How many of them did we not need to take? And again, that's something that we have to teach our team.
You have a guy, you know, there's a few plays that you ran with Gabe York that set him up to get an open 3. Is there a guy on this team that you can run those type of plays for?
Sure. I mean, Brandon Randolph and Brandon Williams are 2, and we have to run more things for Ryan Luther because he's almost unselfish to a fault. He's a great teammate. But he's a very good shooter, and he can go inside as well. But for him to play 24 minutes and take 2 shots, we have to do a better job as coaches to put him in a position to get more looks than that.
One other question about Maui. Their first year, you took your team in there when you just took over. Then you took a pretty powerhouse team in there in 14. And how does this compare to those 2 experiences, do you think, as far as the guys you got and what you're heading into? Obviously, you mentioned the competition's really good too. But.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't know until you're there. You know, sometimes it'll bring out the best in a player and a team, and sometimes it could really be a struggle. I mean, when you're playing against great programs on a neutral court, a lot of eyes watching the games, you know, the kind of pressure can take you to places that you don't want to go. That game pressure. We dealt with that last year in the Bahamas. Playing without Raleigh, we did some things in those games that really was kind of like shooting yourself in the foot. And that's part of what I think all of us try to do in those tournaments is, you know, don't beat yourself. Whatever you're good at, make sure you show up and you, for example, we've been really good at taking care of the ball. It'll be interesting to see at the end of that tournament if that holds. If it does, that's a great sign. We're worried about our rebounding. It'll be interesting to see if we have more confidence when that tournament ends in that area. But until you play the games, you don't really know.
You have one of your commits announced that he signed. Did you get that letter, and what do you expect for the other few guys, or could it be a while?
Like we always do, I think we're going to deal with that all at one moment. Each of those guys are in different places. Sometimes guys are traveling. Sometimes, you know, the national letter has to get to a family member who's not with them. So all those circumstances, what we don't want to do is, you know, say something about one guy and let 5 days go and then say something about someone else. So whenever we feel comfortable that we have everything in, then we'll hit it at one moment in one shot. But we fully expect that to happen, and we'll see the timing of it. It might not happen until we're actually back from Maui, but we'll have a press conference where we can talk about all of those guys that signed.